My name is Jamila Corbett. For all of those who don't know me, you're catching me somewhere up and down your timeline. I am the founder and CEO of I Am a Brand, where we make brands boom. We actually provide you with the resources and tools so that you can compete in the industry, in your industry, with other industry pioneers. Visit us at iamabrand.co. I am kicking off the first episode of Spilling the Beans, a new show that's going to be hosted right here on the I Am a Brand page. So if you're coming in and you're like, oh my gosh, Jamila, I love this interview, do me a favor, tell me where you're hailing from, number one. Number two, if you're enjoying the content, the meat and potatoes, do me a favor, share this out, bottom left-hand corner. You see that share button down there? Go ahead and share this out, type shared or invite it so I could personally thank you for doing that, because you don't have to share this with your network, but you choose to. So today, I am so excited to introduce our first guest, Pat Sullivan. So Pat Sullivan has been building software for over 30 years. 30 years. Along the way, he was named one of the 80 most influential people in sales and marketing history, alongside Henry Ford, Walt Disney, Jack Welch, and Bill Gates by Sales and Marketing Management. He was also twice named Ernst Young Entrepreneur of the Year for both ACT and SalesLogix software. Pat is the CEO of Ryver, a communications platform that actually competes with Slack and Trello. Do me a favor, you guys. Everybody in the comments, put your hands together. You see, round of applause for Pat Sullivan. Pat, thank you so much for joining me today. Really do appreciate it.
It's great to be here, and it's an honor to be your first guest.
Yes, a new show right here on the I Am a Brand page. And so I want to really dig deep, because I'm a fan of Ryver. We actually use Ryver, the Ryver platform, to host our premium network community. It's a peer-to-peer learning platform where people can come in, join different mastermind groups. And so I've admired the changes you guys have made, because I've been with you guys for about a year and a half, and I've seen you go through, different iterations of the product. And so before we dig deep into Ryver, I want to discuss a little bit about aspects of being an entrepreneur for over 30 years. Like I mentioned before, you built and sold 2 companies, but I want to take you back to the beginning where it all started. You're a sales guy. So how did you get into being an entrepreneur and building businesses?
Well, I would say it was kind of always in my blood. I remember writing 2 different business plans long before I did ACT. So I was always thinking about it. Fortunately, I never implemented either one of those business plans, because they would have been total failures. But the exercise was a good one. And I guess, I noticed that wherever I worked, I always looked at things and said, well, why don't they do this? Why don't they do that? And why don't they change that? And everything could be better if this. So it was just, I guess, in my blood.
It was in your blood. And I love that. So from the get-go, was ACT your first company, and then SalesLogix, and then did you have any other companies between those and Ryver?
Yes, ACT was my first, and then 2 years after we sold that, SalesLogix was my second, and then there were 2 companies that I was on the board of and an investor of, where the CEO didn't do so well, and I was asked to step in, and I stepped in as CEO for both those companies. Both those companies had okay outcomes, but not great like ACT or SalesLogix. And then Ryver is my 5th.
I love it.
Actually, I should say that Ryver is my 6th. I don't talk about this as much, and I don't know why, because it is actually a very, very successful company. I and my son started a company called Jigsaw Health, which is a nutritional supplement company. And it's in its 12th year, and it has carved out a really neat niche and is doing extremely well. So I've actually done 6.
Wow. It's so much you can't even keep count. So another question, from the get-go, do you build your company so that you're in a position to sell it later on down the line? Do you go into it with the mindset of having that exit strategy of selling it?
I don't. I was taught really early on by a mentor that you build and run companies as though you're going to run them for 100 years. And if you do that, and you're successful doing that, you are in a position where you have an attractive company, and so it is going to, there are going to be people who want to buy you. And the idea of building something to flip it, like you would a house, we're going to build it, we're going to buy it, we're going to fix it up, and we're going to flip it. That I've never seen that to work. It usually comes out of a passion for what you're doing, and you want to do it great. You want to solve the problem great. And if you do that, you're in a position where you're an attractive brand.
Yes. And I think you hit the nail on the head right there, because some people, some of my cohorts in the startup industry, they build these companies, they build these, SaaS companies, and they're going in with the intention, I want to build a company and then create this exit strategy so I can sell it. But I love your perspective of building it for the longevity, whether you want to, run it in perpetuity or whether you want to sell it. And so really quick pause for all of those who are entering. I see a lot of people in the hose. Boom, baby, boom, stands for breaking out of old mindsets. I want to personally welcome you to this live stream on the I Am a Brand channel. We are here with Pat Sullivan. We are kicking off Spilling the Beans. This man right here is a seasoned veteran entrepreneur. I know that was kind of redundant, but he is seasoned in the industry. We actually host our premium network, which you see the link right down there is pinned to the top. We host our premium network, our communications hub, on his platform, Ryver. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But right now we're talking about entrepreneurship and all that good stuff. So if you're coming in and you're enjoying the content, do me a favor, share this out, bottom left-hand corner, type shared or invited. And let me give some people some greetings. I see a lot of you guys are in the house. What's up, Bob? I see you. Hey, Chris, I see you now. Thank you so much for inviting Janine. I see you, Clement. Thank you so much for being here. Jody, shout out to you. Shout out to Nakia. All of the beautiful people up in here. Hey, Frazier, I see you. And I see you, Joan. What's up, Francine? So getting back into what we were talking about, Pat, you've been in the game for over 3 decades. For all of those who are just coming in, he's been an entrepreneur for the past over 30 years. There's a lot of wisdom under your belt. What would be some tips for new entrepreneurs which we have in the room, for building a business, a sustainable business?
Well, there's so many. I've actually written a book. Actually, I've written 2, but the second one isn't out yet. They're both ebooks, and you can find them on our website or on my blog on ryver.com. And one is called The 10 Keys of Entrepreneurship, and then the second one is about to be released, and it's called GBSD, which stands for Getting Big Shit Done.
I love that.
And, there are so many things that I could focus on, but let me really just talk about one. And it's one that most everybody mentions, but I'll stress it, is persistence. Building a company is hard. The most energy when an airplane takes off, the most energy is expended getting off the ground. It's hard to figure out where is the hole in the market that I want to fill, that I can fill. It's hard to build a product, a service that fills that need, and then it's hard getting attention. Who cares? You have to figure out a way to get into the mind of the market and make them say, I care about this and I like this. And all those things are extremely hard and require huge amounts of persistence. And not everybody has that. Everybody, there are people who think the first thing, the second thing I run into that's really, really hard, and oh, gee, we're just not making it. We're dead. I can't tell you the number of times at ACT where we said to ourselves, we're dead. And yet we kept going, and 3 years, we were an overnight success. It took us 3 years.
3 years, wow.
For people to start saying, oh my gosh, you guys just came out of nowhere. You're an overnight success. And we would go, where were you 3 years ago?
Right.
Just really, really hard. But when you do it, it's so satisfying.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree with you. And I've been with the company that I'm with right now, the current company that you guys are a part of right here. I Am a Brand. We're only a year old, and we're just now just finding ourselves, and people are noticing who we are, and they're like, oh my gosh, we've been around for the past year, but I know we have a long way to go. And I think people have this idea, especially with the media portraying this idea of entrepreneurship like it's sexy. Everybody wants to do it, and it's so easy. And they just portray this image, this fairy tale like image. But I tell people, this is hard. It's really hard to do this, and you're very successful in your own right. But I don't want to sugarcoat the journey of entrepreneurship and building a business. Your current company, Ryver, you guys check it out, ryver.com. We host our premium network on his platform. It directly competes with an already widely used, very popular team communications app, Slack. But that wasn't always the case. Ryver is actually older than Slack, but you had to pivot, right? So why did you feel the need to pivot into what you guys are today?
Well, pivoting is tied to persistence. There comes times where you realize, what we're doing isn't working. And it cannot work for lots of different reasons. But you just realize we're this isn't working. So you can either give up, or you can say, okay, with what I have, what can we make it into? Or have we uncovered something along the way that's actually more attractive than what we thought beforehand? So pivoting is actually very, very common. Slack is actually a good example. They started out building a game called Glitch. And they raised $13 million worth of venture capital to do that. And about $6 or $7 million into that $13 million, they realized that Glitch was really awful. But they had built this communications tool for themselves to communicate entirely together. And it was that eventually became Slack. And interestingly, they actually went back to the venture capitalists who had invested $13 million and said, we want to give the money back. Ooh. The money we have left, we want to give it back. And the venture capitalist said, it's more problem for me to take it back than it is to give it, than you just taking it and figure something out. You guys are a bunch of smart people. Figure something else out. And lo and behold, out of that came Slack.
And so Ryver was birthed out of, you guys had several type of enterprise software for people. And so you decided to just focus on this one particular piece and just get rid of everything else, right?
Yes.
And so what would you, I think sometimes it's a tough pill to swallow when you want to include other products and services into your business models, but your customers are telling you a different story. And that's a great example of just following what your customers want, following the market. And so I want you to share the biggest signs that you knew you needed to basically strip down to your socks and just go with that one product, which was the communications platform. What was the biggest sign that you needed to do that?
Well, we built a product, it was more than a prototype. We built a product and we were in beta testing. And we beta tested it for about 6 months, and we kept trying to adjust it to satisfy and make happy our beta testers. And having done it before, just listening to the feedback and talking to some of them, I realized that we had missed the mark. We had not nailed it with what we had, and we weren't going to get there. It wasn't an issue of adding more. It was really taking away. We had it was too big. It was too much. So we had to narrow the focus and do one thing really, really well instead of a few things pretty well. The sign for me is always, are we getting people say to us, "Wow, you changed my life."
Wow.
That you're over the threshold of something really good when people are telling you, "You've changed my life," and I wasn't hearing that, so I knew we had missed it. So we did pivot, and now we have people saying, "You've changed my life."
Yeah.
So we made a good choice.
You sure did. And I want to just quickly reset for all of the people who are coming in, and this is your first time seeing me. My name is Jamila Corbett. I am the founder and CEO of I Am a Brand. Visit us at iamabrand.co. You can see it's pinned to the top. And so I'm kicking off this first show, Spilling the Beans, episode 1, with Pat Sullivan. Pat has been building companies, successful companies, for over 30 years. He's built and sold 2 companies, won Ernst Young Entrepreneur of the Year twice. If you're enjoying the content, here's what I need you to do. Share this out, invite some people in at the bottom left-hand corner, type shared or invited so I could personally thank you. And if you came by way of a share, I want to personally thank you. And also say, what's up? What's up, Michael? I see you. Hey, Mandy, I see you in here. Yes, Anita, persistence. Hey, Nicole, I don't think I said hello to you. Tracy, what's going on? Yes, doing one thing really well. So if you guys have any questions for Pat, do me a favor, put them in the comments so I can ask him. And so, Pat, I think you that is a great example of getting focused and going 100% in on your strengths. And so if you're watching out here, you guys, the audience members, if you have these array of products and services and nothing seems to be working, but your customers are continuously buying into one particular service, maybe it's time to really focus on that one thing. And so, Pat, if I'm completely new to you, like most of my audience in here, and I'm seeing you for the first time, why should I go with Ryver, and what makes Ryver unique?
Well, the thing that makes it unique is something that we have been working on for some time and just released about a month ago, where we have married task management with Slack-like team communications. The thing about Slack and HipChat and products like that is that they facilitate communications, but often you're talking as a team about tasks that you're working on. And what we did was take much of the functionality, the look and feel of a product like Trello and Jira, and we built that into Ryver in a seamless user interface. And magic happens when all of a sudden in one application, one UI, you have both task management and chat. Because you chat about tasks, you turn chats and posts into tasks. So that is really the major difference that we have been working towards. That has taken us a while to get there. We built a Slack quality team communications product that we gave away for free, with the view that ultimately we were going to monetize that with the task manager. And there's a few other things that we have coming that will further differentiate the product from products like Slack.
And let me tell you guys, for all of those who are coming in and you're new here, we host our I Am a Brand Premium Network, which you can get access to. You can become a member, get access to different mastermind groups and other ways you can boom your biz, brand, and bank. We host it on the Ryver platform, which is why I just had to get Pat on this show because I'm a fan of this product. This isn't something that I'm telling you guys to check out that I don't use myself. And when we were, when I first decided to launch I'm a Brand last year, and we were looking at the differences, the different team communications type platforms, we looked at Slack. And I chose you guys because you were the most logical choice for me. And I was looking at the vision that you guys had, and I kind of bought into that. And I like to look at things as an entrepreneur. I like to look at things at scale. And I asked myself, how would this work with 1,000 team members? How can this seamlessly, integrate into what we're doing? And the fact that you guys have no limit to the chat history, because we have people coming in and out at different times, it's greatly organized with posts. So all of the content we share, we can, post our threads and chat, and it's just so organized that I was like, you guys are the most logical choice for me. And so, when you guys decided to make this pivot, and you're sitting on this amazing team communications platform, and you had to tailor your marketing strategy to get new customers in the door. So let's discuss that, your marketing strategy, and what you had to do to get people's attention. Like, you kind of declared war with Slack, right?
Right. Well, the number one problem once you built something, the famous movie, what is it, Field of Dreams? If you build it, they will come. Well, they don't come.
No.
they don't. You have to get people's attention, and I never want to talk politics, but I don't know. I don't think it's something you can argue that one of the reasons that Trump won was because he was provocative.
I talked about that actually. Actually, did a whole live stream about that.
Still is. He controlled the narrative by being provocative, and so we figured we had to do the exact same thing. And like you said, I picked a fight with the giant, and what we were, believe it or not, what we were trying to do was piss off the fanboys of Slack, so they would talk about us.
Yeah.
And it within a few months, it really put us into kind of the top 3 products that people talked about. And even though many people talked about us in a negative way, when you clicked on their Twitter feed, you saw they had 8,000 followers, and so they were advertising for free us, and people would go to our website and say, "What is this thing?" And they would discover, "Wow, this is really pretty good. Oh, and by the way, it's free."
Right.
So we got into the conversation by being provocative, and it wasn't like we were saying terrible things. Believe it or not, the ad that got the worst response, that just really ripped people off, made them mad, was when we said Slack is so last year. and you would think we were calling their mother bad names. I mean, that it just made them livid, and it worked fabulously for us. Now, what we had to have a thick skin, because people really said bad things to us. And people would ask me, why, you slime ball, why are you doing this? And my response was always the same. Well, it works. And we were getting click-throughs like crazy and sign-ups like crazy, because we were stirring the pot, we were making people mad, and more people, and basically we were just, let me say it another way. The number one question that we would always get as soon as we talk to somebody was, well, how does this compare to Slack? So if you're hearing that question, that's the elephant in the room. And you better take care of that elephant. You better answer that question, because it's in their mind. So we used that and attacked it head on. We said, here's the difference. Here's how it compares. And most products are afraid to do that. They're afraid to compare themselves to their competitor. And I believe you should do it as forcefully as you possibly can. Piss them off if you can.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And you take the provocative approach, and
Absolutely.
This is what I am as well. Is I'm a very provocative person, and I have those hard, tough conversations, and so I think that helps differentiate you guys as well. And so now with the integration of the task management system that you guys have, you guys are actually now comparing yourself to Trello. And what I love, before we talk about that, what I love about this is that there's no more with you guys integrating like the Trello task management system. There's no more trying to integrate apps and all this other stuff that you have to do with these other programs. Now you have this one-stop shop for everything, and I love it. So let's talk about the marketing strategy behind the task management and you doing Trello.
Yes. Basically our attack is the same for both. Where we're saying Slack lacks. That's kind of the theme. Slack lacks, and Trello's Jello. People notice that. They go, "What the heck do you mean?" And basically, we're saying that Slack needs something like Trello, and Trello needs something like Slack. And people do try to integrate them, but it's a frustration because you really are bouncing back between two different applications, and you're paying for both. So, and it gets very expensive very fast. So we basically are talking about both, comparing ourselves to both. But the real key difference is we have both of them together and they don't. Mm-hmm. And let me add to that, it's best to attack your competitor with something that is totally 100% objective. It's inarguable. The fact is Slack doesn't have Trello. The fact is Trello doesn't have Slack. And that can't be argued. So it's not like we're saying, well, our chat's better than their chat. Our task boards are better than their task boards. Because that's arguable. That's subjective. But it's not arguable what we chose to attack.
Yes. And what's evident to me is your extensive understanding of the market and evolving with it to create products that people need. And so I want to shift the conversation slightly to the future of work and where it's going. How important is it for companies to adapt to this new way of work where you don't have to necessarily sit in the cubicle all day staring at the walls?
Yes. You've said it, and it's almost painful that you say it. I've been doing this for 30 years, but the pace of business today is so much faster than when I did ACT, when I did SalesLogix. The number of products trying to get attention has gone up 1,000-fold. So being able to communicate rapidly and to manage a project rapidly, speed is what's changing everything. You have to move very, very quickly. And companies that don't adapt to that, they're not going to make it. The second point is that most companies today and in the past, the bigger companies, they operate on the basis that it's like the military. Information is on a need-to-know basis. Well, today, everybody needs to know. Everybody needs to know what's going on if they're going to feel a part of the business. And everybody, you never know who's going to have the answer to something. Somebody that way down in the ranks who in the old world didn't need to know. But lo and behold, they're the ones that know exactly what ought to be done or exactly what the problem is. And if they're not included in the conversation, then you miss it. There's a book that I highly recommend called Team of Teams. And it outlines the need for widespread communication where everybody has a say and everybody has insight into what's going on. So the pace of business and the need to spread information has gone up 1,000-fold from the way it used to be.
Yes, it sure has, and companies must adapt. And so what's the one piece of advice you would give to the business owners on this live stream that's watching us right now?
One piece of advice. You want me to boil it down to one
piece of just boil it down.
I get one shot at it. Well, I don't know that I can boil it down to one. I kind of did before, the idea of persistence. The other, because everybody on here is they're entrepreneurs or people who want to be entrepreneurs. There's another piece of advice that I noticed that is necessary. I meet with a lot of entrepreneurs, and it amazes me the number of them who don't realize how important it is to look the part, to sound the part, to be the part. I meet with people who, I give an example in the book that's coming out of a guy who was really a bright guy and was building what could be a really good business. And every time I met with him, he wore this stupid baseball hat. And everything else about him was just spot on. But the stupid baseball cap got in the way. And I told him, hey, take that damn hat off, and don't you ever have another meeting with somebody that you're trying to get to help you with that stupid hat on. And he took it to heart and never wore the hat again. He raised money, and he's building a successful company. Now, could he have done that with wearing the hat? Maybe. But looking the part, look successful, look like somebody who other people are willing to invest money and time and energy into. And today, with the younger crowd, it's hip to be, their hair's messed up and their shirt's out and they wear stupid hats, but if they're trying to get money, it's usually from somebody old like me.
Yeah, old money.
So you have to look the part, and I have to do that. People go, "Oh, you're successful and everything. It must be easy for you." No, it's hard. I have a personal brand. I love your whole thesis. I am a brand. You are a brand. So everything you do, everything you wear, how you talk is part of your brand. You need to build a brand, and people need to respect that brand. And so many people today don't do exactly what you're trying to teach them.
Exactly. And so Adrian wants to know, could that be construed as a generational thing, maybe? Like, young kids, they just don't know any better?
Yes, absolutely. And it depends on who you're meeting with. And that's another point. I'm amazed at the number of people that I meet who are looking for me to help them, who haven't even bothered to look up my LinkedIn profile. They go and they're like, well, not sure what I've done, and it's so easy. Just look me up.
Exactly.
And people don't bother to do it. Now, is that a generational thing? No. It doesn't matter. Whoever you're meeting with, you can find out something about them. I walk into meetings and I deliberately talk about something from their LinkedIn profile that will surprise them that I know about them. What college did they go to? What have they done before? Where did they live? Whatever. I deliberately say, I care about you enough to have researched you. So is that a generational thing? No. No, it isn't. There are generational things, though. I couldn't pull off wearing a hoodie to a meeting with some young, 30 something, 20 something. That would be stupid for me. However, I could wear a sweatshirt, I could wear something. So I look the part that I'm playing. Um, and yeah, there are some generational things. There's some things that I can't pull off that a 20 something could. But there are things I can pull off that a 20 something can't. So use the advantages that you have. But most of all, look the part and know something about the person that you're going to meet. Because damn it, it's so easy. Why don't you do it? Well, you didn't care enough to find out. And that communicates something that makes your brand not very good.
Oh, and right there, I think we're going to end it there. So as we wrap up, is there anything else you would like to share with the group or to anyone that's watching now or going to catch the replay?
Yeah. Competition. I meet with entrepreneurs who have some success. And I've had a number of them say, well, this competitor, they're beating our butt, and this competitor, and they act like they don't care. But being in business is all about competing. You don't get participation awards. Oh, gee, it was great because you participated in this category. No, you have to have the attitude that, damn it, I'm going to win. I'm going to win. And what's fortunate is I don't have to be number one to win. If 150 golfers start out Thursday morning thinking they're going to win, only one of them is going to win. But the top 50 get paid pretty well. Okay. So there's going to be multiple winners in a space. Slack's going to win. There's nothing I can do to change that, but I can also win. But if you don't have the attitude that I have to compete, and what do I got to do? With ACT, at one time we had 90% market share.
Oh,
well, it pissed me off. I didn't have the other 10. and I was always trying to think, how am I going to get the other 10? And that really needs to drive you. You need to look at your competitors and say, what are they doing that's really, really good that I can copy or emulate or do better? It's very, very important to have a competitive attitude.
I love that. And we're going to wrap it up here. So for all of those, who are entering, my name is Jamila Corbett. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'm a digital marketing consultant, and what I do specifically is I help you leverage video, blogging, and social media to magnify your brand, boost your credibility, and build a loyal community of buyers. I am the founder and CEO of I Am a Brand, where we make brands boom. We actually provide you with the resources and tools so that you can transform yourself into an industry maverick and compete in the digital space. So check out our premium network, iamabrand.co/community. You see that thing pinned to the top right there? That is the direct link on how you can join our premium hub. We are here with Pat Sullivan. We're wrapping up the show, spilling the beans. Pat shared some delicious He shared some delicious meat and potatoes with us. Hope you caught it all. If you haven't, go ahead and catch the replay. And so we actually use Pat's Ryver platform to host our premium network, where you get access to mastermind groups and other ways you can actually transform yourself and boom your biz, brand, and bank account. Check out ryver.com, which is Pat's software, and also iamabrand.co. Thank you so much for being here, Michael. Thank you, Mandy. Thank you, Janine. Thank you so much, Adrian, for being here. Lovell, you're the true MVP, and we will see you on the next episode of Spilling the Beans, baby. Thank you. Wait for it. Boom.